right, so today we are going to be making the quick and dirty version of the snippet roll, the Booksmith way. So if you want to see how I put this together, this is the right place. Let's get started. So to start out, what I have here is a piece of, it's like gauze, it's like the stuff that they make receiving blankets and that kind of thing out of. And it's like a ecru color. And I just lightly ironed out some of the wrinkles is all I did. And we're just gonna make this kind of an odd shape because I only have this little strip of my the Heat and Bond light left over. This is all I got, man. So I'm just going to turn this over. This is the glue side. And this is the paper side. Yeah, Captain Obvious there. And you just basically, just slowly glue this on. And this is a permanent adhesive. But the light stuff doesn't add the bulk like interfacing might. Unless you want some bulk, if you want some, you know, stiffness or, you know, that kind of thing. Okay. Now, peel the paper off, and it will leave you with a strip of glue, just like that. And now I have some strips of fabric and lace. I'm going to lay pieces down. Let's see, here's a kind of a bigger piece. Maybe I should lay that down first. And all I'm doing is just kind of tacking this preliminarily so that it's not shifting on me too much. Let's see, let's get a piece of this maybe. Maybe put that here. I'm just going to kind of overlap some things, I think. And I can trim them. I can trim them later if I feel like it. Of course, I'm sure it depends on how, you know, how hefty you want your, you know, your snippet roll pieces to be. I think I'm gonna scoot, oops. Scoot that over just a little bit and put that about right like, maybe like that. And then I have this piece of muslin and maybe I will fray up the edges a little bit. That goes there. I have this piece of this raw muslin. I could probably, I don't know, set in this area. What else? I have a strip of this. Put it maybe And some of these pieces aren't gonna like stick down all the way because they're not all hitting the, you know, the glue area, but it's okay. It's all right. And here's a piece of linen. I'm gonna put that, maybe that. It's a piece of lace. I'm gonna fold these back. It's like putting lattice on pie. Lay that down. I just got some neat pieces that are just kind of scrippity scraps that are left over from, you know, all kinds of stuff. Got this. Maybe this will go here. Should I have the linen overlapping that a little bit? Like that. And then let's see, I've got all these little pieces parts over here. Got this. I can maybe go over here. That. And perhaps this could go over here, maybe in that direction. Got this paisley. It's really pretty. Maybe I will tuck it under this. Kind of. And I've got some pieces of like silk sari ribbon that the glue might hold it through the middle of the holes on this lace. It might not. Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we? So maybe that'll happen over here in this area. And I don't know, maybe this is where you can kind of get, you know, I was going to say obsessive. You get obsessive. You can get obsessive. I'm not your mom. You can get all kinds of obsessive if you want. I'll put this maybe down the middle of that one. And here's some more sari silk. And perhaps it'll just kind of hang out over here. Are we done? Are we done? Are we done? I don't know. Am I ever really done? I've got several neat pieces, and I've got this piece of this ribbon with the measurements on it that I really, really dig. I just think it would look really cool hanging out, you know, in the middle here somewhere. And then I've got this gathered piece. I'm running out of room. Maybe I'll put this here, and then maybe this. I love this little hunk of square stuff. It must go in here. It must. Maybe I will put it underneath the sari ribbon over here. Okay, so now I'm just going to start carefully ironing everything down. So I'm going to take some pins and pin a few of these pieces down that aren't touching the glue so that they don't shift too much and I can take it into the other room and put some stitches in this with the sewing machine. It's kind of like those, you know, those Franken pages that we made. It's kind of like that, but with scraps of fabric instead of scraps of paper. Okay, off to the sewing machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start randomly putting stitches through everything. I'm not going to really do any rhyme or reason or anything, and maybe I'll even vary my stitches. Let's start out with a zigzag. Okay, so now that we have this is, everything's tacked down, probably more than necessary. It's your decision whether you want to go with contrasting thread or light thread. I just used what was on the machine, which was this, you know, pale ivory thread. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it in this direction, and I'm going to trim off a little excess here, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to decide how wide do I want my strips here. And I think I could probably get, I mean, do you want it real wide or do you want it skinny? So, you know, that's another decision for you to make here at this moment. And I have not made that decision. I'm hemming and hawing. Here's my narrowest section is right here. So it's like I have to cut part of this off, which is fine. Like I said, I only had a certain amount of the heat and bond stuff. What we can do is flip this around and kind of trim this side. And then my my width is about 7.5 inches. So I could do two like 3, you know, inch sections, or I could go even a little smaller and do like 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, like 2.5. So I could do 3 2.5 slice sections. Does that make sense? So maybe I'll do that. Let me line this up, and 1, 2, so 21.5. So here's one section here. So there's one, and then here's our other two, and So I have my 3 long sections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little edges that I left. You know, I have these little pieces of this organza gauzy stuff. And I'm just going to fit these together like so. And I'm going to sew these together, and so that there'll be one long strip. And then I'm going to sew along the top and the bottom to seal all these slices of pieces in, and I will be right back. So here we have our long strip of snippet roll, and full disclosure, this is where your quick and dirty turns into potentially a time suck of epic proportions, because this is where you get to decorate, if you choose, your snippet roll, right? So, I mean, what do you want to decorate with? Well, there's all the things. Literally all the things. You can use paper, you can use other fibers, you can use little charms, you can use buttons. I mean, we're talking, you know, no rules, man. No rules. Just everything. Beads. It's just, you know. So, this is where you get to decide. Okay, I love this as it is. Just stop, Nick. Just don't make me go on. And then some of you are like, no, gild the lily. Well, we'll gild the lily a little bit. How's that? We will do a little gilding of the lily. But what end do we want to start on? Well, it doesn't really matter. They kind of all look similar and not similar all at the same time, right? So, how do you want your roll to look? Do you want it to be vertical or horizontal? I mean, does it matter? No. You can use bits of paper. I have these little teeny tiny little pictures that you print out. You could sew those on. You can glue them on. Either way. This is some recycled silk yarn, and it's got little bits of fuzzies all over it. But let's see, I could tie a little tiny bow here. And you could sew that on. We've got our buttons. We've got, remember when we did the dictionary page buttons? Those are super cute. You have to decide, I suppose it will make a difference if how you want it to fit around your spool, which we will get to in a minute, or if you want a spool, if you care if there's a spool. Maybe you want to use it as like gift packaging, you know, like the ribbon on the outside of a really special gift, because come on, this took a minute. It was quick and dirty, but it wasn't that quick, and it really wasn't that dirty. So that's what you have to decide, because some things are bulky and won't want to fit around a spool real well unless you have a real fat spool to begin with where there isn't much of a curve going on. That makes sense? I am going to sew a few things on. I just have some simple cotton thread, no big deal, nothing fancy, in a similar color to what I used on this. And I'm just going to string a needle. And you might have to have several needles in case you come across a button or a bead or something that is too small for the needle that you are using. But sometimes you don't want to use a little teeny inky dinky needle, because they're harder to work with. Well, they're harder for me to work with because my hands aren't, my hands don't work very well all the time. So I get a lot of numbness, and so sometimes little things are harder for me to grab a hold of than the larger things. So one thing that you can do too is, because we have a couple different layers here, it doesn't matter to me if I see stitching on the back, because we see all the stitching that we used, you know, with the sewing machine. But, you know, maybe somebody doesn't want to see, you know, the hand stitching on the back. So I just made a little knot at the end here, kind of at the end, kind of sort of at the end. And because we have several layers, you can just kind of pick the topmost layer if you want, and that's what you can stitch through as opposed going through the entire thing. That part is up to you, and like I said, it's going to look great either way. I picked a thread that was real close in color to the base fabric anyway, so I doubt you would even see it hardly at all. But if you're using a contrasting thread, maybe you don't want to see that. I don't know, maybe you do. It all ends up being what you're going for, what your look is. I'm not a huge, well, you guys know me. I don't do, you know, the rhinestones and the bling and the pearls and the bows and the roses and it's lovely. That's just not my aesthetic, right? That's not something I do in my stuff. I think it looks pretty though. But if that is your aesthetic, there are all kinds of little sewing, little embellishments that you can buy, those little ribbon roses that you can buy that are already made. They're so cute. They're already done in different colors, and so you can add those. You can also glue a lot of this in if you if you don't want to mess with hand sewing everything, you can just glue it on. Especially if it's going to be like for a gift package or something, and you're like, I'm not going to spend 40 years on this snippet roll, you know. You're going to take the quick and dirty and you're just going to be quick and dirty. So there is the little textile bow. If you want, we can add a button. A button. I don't know which one. See, this is where you get all, you know, anal about everything, and I'll try to hide that underneath and then come up over here so I don't have to cut my thread and then come back. And I'm just going to go through the whole shebang here instead of trying to hide it underneath. It's hard to sew a button on when you're hiding the thread underneath. It's hard to get that angle going, so I'm just gonna sew it through. I think these would be great if you made a couple and maybe lined the edge of a table runner. Wouldn't that be pretty? And then you could have a table runner, but with, you know, the little snippets going down along the edge. There's a little jingle bell. Little tiny jingle bell. I might put that at the bottom of the bow. I don't know why. Just will. Let's fit. Ooh, yes. So now my snippet roll is going to be noisy. Somewhat. Cute. Here is one of our dictionary buttons. And again, I'm going to go up through the back here. And then I'm going to try to hide this thread underneath a little bit, and then I'll go through. So like I said, because I'll have to measure this thing and see how long it is, and I didn't even use that big of a piece of base fabric, did I? Because that piece of heat and bond that I had wasn't very big. So you can imagine if you did a bigger piece how long of a snippet roll you could get. So it's, you know, it's a lot of bang for your buck. I don't like them to be too skinny this way because you don't get to see as much of the details of everything. It kind of, it's a little bit better if it's a little bit bigger, at least I think. It just looks a little nicer because you can see the details a little bit better. But yeah, I think it looks good. But you could go wider even, because we could have done 2 rows. Let's see how long this is. It looks like it is about 1.5 yards. That's not bad, right? Not too shabby. Now let's add a charm. And then I have these little Tim Holtz pins, and I have bulb pins. So the bulb pins are great because you can just grab one of these guys and just grab a charm, something that'll lay maybe kind of flat-ish. I think here are some keys. And I can just run this through the whole snippet roll all the way to the back or just through the front, and just close the pin, and then you've got little danglies and you didn't even have to sew anything on. That's kind of great. That's kind of wonderful. And like I said before, you can always glue stuff on too. So here I went through the middle like this. I'm going to go down over here, I think, a little bit. We've got these little charms, and I think these are Tim Holtz. Maybe they're not. Maybe this is the, no, I think they are. I think they are. Some of them are the, of course it gets caught. It gets caught somewhere that there is no way on God's green earth that you would be able to do this on purpose. That's how it gets caught. Every single time. Please tell me how that happens. Please tell me that you can't even see how to undo it. So it's like, how did it get caught if you can't even see how to undo it? Oh my goodness graciousness. It's my life, people. It's my life. I'm just going to sew that on quickly and try not to catch it on everything. I tell you guys, I sabotage myself left and right. Please tell me that you guys are the same. Please, somebody tell me that your day never goes as planned, ever. Like not even as hard as you try, could anything ever go as planned. No, never. I think we need, what do we need? I don't know, something is drawing me to these little pictures, and I've got this little this picture of this little Poe front cover, and then I have all these, you know, the 6x6 at the back of the paper packs that have the smaller images on them. You know, you could cut these apart. You could have little bird cages, especially if you had like a little punch, which I do somewhere. Here's the little tickets that you could cut out. So cute. Let's see, let me cut out a ticket without hurting myself today. And of course, you know, you could glue this on, you could sew it on. I mean, that's going to be totally up to you, right? Totally up to you. I might tack it and then sew it. You know what I mean? Like give it just a little bit of fabric glue in the back. And then you could either sew around it with your sewing machine and do a zigzag stitch, or you could tack it down with needle and thread too. So I think I'm going to stop there for now because, like I said, time suck. Time suck. I'm going to stop there, but you get the point. You guys know what these are. You know, this is not new. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a spool for this to roll onto so that we can, you know, either present it to someone as a gift or, you know, store it. So I will be right back. So for time constraints and simplicity purposes, I just took some craft cardstock and rolled it into a tube. If you happen to have a little wooden spool that would fit, that would, you know, that'd just be cute. That'd just be too cute. But I'm just going to simply roll the Snippet ribbon onto the tube. And then you can see I added a little button after I sewed around this picture, and I've got that we did, and that we did, and that we did, and that, and that. And then I added a little pair of scissors, and then I glued on a shift key. Cute, right? Am I holding that upside down? I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't really have a right side, wrong side. So at this point, how you tie it is going to be up to you, however you want to secure this on, you know, on the roll. There are lots of things you could do, I guess, depending on what's on your, you know, your snippets. So you could tie it around like this with the sari ribbon. You could also just take a straight pin and run that through just to keep it secured. Where are my, and this is just silk sari ribbon. And then that keeps it from sliding off the tube. And you could also add like a gift tag, the little to and from on there. If you remember when we made the gift boxes for the toffee, there's some little gift tags over at my Flickr page. You can get little gift tags that you can download and use those. I thought those would be really cute as well. And then you could just add a little to and from on there if you wanted just to give them a snippet roll and not put it on a package. But there is your quick and dirty versus your, you know, epic time suck. That's your choice, depending on the type of time you have. But I hope you enjoyed this little project with me today, and hope you get out your scraps and, you know, sew them together and make something kind of fun. And yeah. All right, guys, I will be at you really soon, probably tomorrow. I've got a few books to put up on Etsy for Saturday, and I will show those to you. And before I go, there's another thing for you guys at Flickr. All of you that were in the Booksmith Deserted Island Challenge. So Mr. Paris got a hold of me the other day at Etsy, and he's like, hey, we need like a certificate. So I made one up. There is a certificate of superior excellence and merit. And so this is for you guys if you choose to download this, and you can put your little name here. But it is bestowed by me for dedication, honor, and excellence in completing the 2018 Booksmith Deserted Island Challenge. So yeah, maybe it's something you want to add to your journals because y'all rocked it. So you need some recognition. So recognition you shall have. All right, guys, thank you so much for playing with me today and making some little fun snippet roll thingies. And I will catch you really, really soon in the next video. Bye, guys.